What we're going to do is we're going to talk a little bit about dating within medicine as a doctor, how it's going, what it's like, what to consider. Should you date someone in medicine? Should you not date someone in medicine? Is it better or worse? What's the go? I don't know. I don't think I have the right answer, but let's just suss out what the options are. And as soon as I've hopped in the car, we need to pick up fuel. The fuel tank's empty. I'm actually very annoyed. I also made a coffee. Usually if I go get fuel, I just get like a coffee from like the actual like service station, but I've got a coffee already made, and now we've got some fuel because we are bang on empty. Sad. We're gonna be late today. Take two. So yeah, what we were saying is, let's take a sip of this coffee first. It's been an okay week, bit of an interesting week. We've now come back on days. We were on days last week, but we were a little bit unwell for a couple of them. So we're now better. We only did a couple days last week. Now we've got a full week this week. We've been organising some meetings. We've been doing that similar thing like from last year that I was talking about. Yeah, what we're doing is we make a big list of patients to be discussed at a big meeting. We get all their details and everything like that, except now what we're doing in this role is actually presenting the cases. So that's kind of interesting. I mean, last time when I did it, I was just collating all the information, organising it, making sure it's all there so that someone else can present it. I think it's kind of put you in the deep end, see how things go. So anyways, I'm technically like the meetings person. We have like radiology meetings, pathology meetings. We have a big meeting where we discuss like complex patients and everything like that. So yeah, my role is just to organise and present those and then fill in the gaps wherever else we are needed in the hospital. So we're doing a bit of operating in the emergency theatre, helping out with one of the surgeons. We have been to clinic. We're going to go to clinic this morning. We're going to clinic tomorrow. Operating theatre this afternoon. Should be okay. So kind of a nice, fun like role where we get to just pop in and out of different places, which is pretty cool. So yeah, we'll get stuck into that. Anyways, let's get down to the main thing we want to talk about, which is just like relationships, dating within medicine, what it looks like, how it works, what things to consider. And I don't know, I mean, all I can talk about is my experiences and people I know who have had some relationships in medicine and what it's looked like and stuff like that. So I guess the first thing is to say that it is possible to have, a partner in medicine. Let me clarify that. You can definitely date while you're in medicine, studying as a doctor, working as a doctor. I mean, it's not impossible to have a relationship in that field. You can have a relationship in any field, but obviously there's going to be some different, specifics with each different field and how much time you need to spend on it, and how busy you are, what your flexibility is like, all those things. And I guess I've found it okay. I think I'm okay at making time for stuff like that if I can. I mean, it's certainly easier to have a long-term stable relationship in while you're working as a doctor, because I mean it's tricky. You don't actually get a lot of time to go out and meet different people and date, if you know what I mean. So having like a steady partner is probably not a bad idea. It's why I think a lot of people either have like a long-term relationship in medicine that has been going on for a while, or a few people in medicine are single, and it's probably because they don't have the time or effort or energy to date when they're in their free time. I mean, a lot of people's free time in medicine is spent doing a whole bunch of other stuff apart from dating. So stuff like research, or stuff like, trying to do some extracurricular stuff or whatever. I mean, if you're not, working, then I don't know if the next best thing is to date, or if it's to do a whole bunch of other things that you have, catch up with friends or play sport or whatever you want to do in your free time, go traveling, etc. So I think by its nature as well, when you start working as a doctor, I mean, you might actually chop and change a bit. So sometimes people will be on one side of the state or in one part of the country, and then next year they might pick up a new job where they're in a completely different location. And I think it makes it challenging, certainly, for a relationship to be stable in that area. I think that's why a lot of people sometimes actually resort to having a relationship with another person in healthcare, or even another doctor. I mean, there's a lot of people who have that situation. I guess there's a handful I can think of off the top of my head, people I know, and I guess it works because you know what you know what each other's schedules are like, you know what they're doing with their spare time, your understanding of of what their schedule looks like. Although it is kind of hard. I mean, if you're working heaps and then you have a day off, they're probably not going to have a day off at the same time. It's not like you always get weekends off together, depending on the rotation, Certainly tricky, because everyone's, like, if you have two people in medicine, both people are actually going to have a whole bunch of other stuff to do in their free time, and then it gets to like making time for the other person that's separate from medicine, especially if you're both in the field. And then when you're off work, not being able to talk about work would be a good thing, to have that separation, because then, I don't know, maybe you start to associate your partner with work if you're always talking about work and medicine and all that stuff, and it sort of just blends into one. I mean, some people might not care at all. Some people might be like completely fine with being completely immersed in that area and just going like that, which isn't a bad idea at all. I think the one thing to consider is, if you end up having a relationship with someone in healthcare, especially with another doctor, your time's going to be pretty limited with stuff. I know one of the people I used to work with, one of their mates is a doctor, and they partnered with another doctor, and they essentially don't have a lot of time because they're both in like surgery, and they have a nanny, I think, for their child, and they don't get to spend like a lot of time with their child. I think I mean, going back to my personal experience, I always was of the opinion that I wanted to date someone outside of the healthcare space, because that's what I was doing all day. If I was at work all day and, seeing patients, talking about healthcare, thinking about healthcare, like, the last thing I want to do is to go home and talk about the same stuff. That's what I used to think. I had a relationship with someone outside of medicine for a while, and I thought it was the best thing, because the great thing about it was that you had your world and then they had their world, and there was separation from it. And I sort of still think that's a really good idea just for anything, like, even if you're not in medicine, if you're in if you work in different areas, or if you're interested in different things. I mean, I like that separation, so that you have two personalities coming together rather than actually two of the same sorts of people. You bring different things to the table, you have different perspectives, you're connecting with someone who you would not otherwise connect with, and experiencing their world. I think that's like I don't know, maybe a bit philosophical or like a weird reasoning, but I think if you can extrapolate that, that's why I thought it would be good to date someone outside of medicine. So yeah, but I mean, it's not a bad thing. I think I've changed my mind a little bit in the sense that I'm not completely a hard no against dating people inside medicine, or even having a relationship with someone inside medicine. The very nature of having people who are understanding of your schedule and everything like that, I mean, it's not a bad thing at all. Would I want to date another doctor who's also busy like me and has all this stuff going on and has to have the hours that I work and everything? I don't know if I want that, or yeah, I mean, it's hard to say. I don't know what I want. I want to pass this exam in the next few weeks. I want to get to work on time. What is the time? I feel like we're running very late. We are late. I don't think there's the right answer for it all, but I guess the things to consider before you start getting into a relationship in medicine, or while you're studying, what do you want your hours to look like, in terms of how much time can you spend with the other person? Are you able to move around and still maintain that relationship? I mean, I still know they're now married, but some family friends of mine, both doctors, they were interstate long distance for a while. I think that's a rare case. Two very busy people doing their own thing have been almost, I think maybe it's overcome now, but for a good portion of their relationship, they were more long distance than they were together in person. And I think that's just insane. Like, I don't think I could do that at all. I don't really think I'm a long distance sort of person. I need like that. I want that person like in my actual life, not like a telephone call or a FaceTime away. For a period of time, sure, if it's the right person, but I don't know if that's me. But yeah, I thought that was crazy how that works. I mean, of course, if it works, it works, but that just shows that it's possible for people to have, a lot of stuff going on, be geographically separated for, a small amount of time, and then to reconvene. It's not like for medicine that people are stuck in the one area. It is possible for people to move around. Less so when you start up like your own, like when you become like a specialist and everything like that. You reach the end of your training. I think when you're sort of starting out, it's a bit easier to move around because you don't have your networks, you don't have your foundations set in stone. I like the idea of staying in the one place initially to build those relationships, build that rapport, and go from there, because I think it's super important and helpful to just, more readily like advance your career. It's harder to get onto training programs and everything like that if you don't have people in your corner backing you in, and people only back you in when they know you and are familiar with you and stuff like that. So that's what I would say. Make people familiar with you, make people know, like, and trust you, and then you can start trying to get to where you want to get to. Now, that only happens if you stay pretty central, if you stay in the one sort of place. So if you have to shift around and move around, yeah, can be tricky. So anyways, they were both junior doctors, moved around a bit, had different placements, went to uni in different places, and yeah, ended up coming back and getting married together, which is kind of cool. It's a good story. But I don't know if I could do that. If I said I wanted to teleport to work, I don't want to drive. I'm so bored of driving to work. I think that's the whole reason I started this whole thing in the car, is because I need something to distract myself from all the driving. I always get comments like I'm a bad driver from my family, like I'm a terrible driver. You always like crashed our family car when you were like growing up. I don't know if that's completely true, you know, because as we mentioned at dinner the other week, there's still dents appearing on the car, even though I'm not there. And then begs the question, who's now taken over my responsibility of the scratches and dents in the car? I don't know. It must be someone in that household. So I just put the information on the table and then let them all decide and pick up. I think, the other thing to say is that it's probably easier to date and, meet different people early in your career when you still have like more time. It's not consumed by a whole bunch of stuff. So I guess when you go further on, you have more responsibility. You have like on call, you have like operating lists if you're a surgeon, or if you're studying to be a surgeon, you'll have to do different like research and stuff. You'll have to go to different conferences and training. You'll be asked by senior colleagues to help them out in their private practice. You just cut in front of me and then just braked. Really annoying. So I think it's being able to not necessarily find someone who is in medicine, but finding someone who is able to be considerate and understanding of the schedule, So yeah, that's all I would say. And then vice versa, if you're dating a doctor, then like you as a doctor know what it's like, what they're going through, they have to apply for a new job pretty much every year. They have to study for this exam or whatever. They have to, do all these different things. I mean, is it all about the doctor? No. I try to steer the conversation away from what am I doing? What have I got going on? Just focus on like your time and what you can offer and like spend with that person. If you can't do that, then just something to consider. But yeah, I mean, I've spoken to a few people who have different perspectives of what dating looks like in medicine when you're in training. I know one guy I was talking to a couple of years ago was like, it's just really hard. It's just like impossible, because all your time is spent and tied up in work that you don't actually have time to go out there and do different things. Yeah, you don't have time to go out there, meet different people, date, see what you like and see what is out there. And a lot of people end up dating within the place that they work, because that's what they spend their time doing, and those are the people that they're familiar with, and who they're familiar with, they get to know them as a person. But I don't know if I'm all for that. I think it can complicate things sometimes. Not saying it's a right or wrong decision to date in the same place that you work, or that you're unable to do that, or whatnot. I mean, it can be the only option for people who want to have a relationship and don't really have the time elsewhere to meet different people, so they end up just meeting someone in the workplace. Again, I feel like I'm open to the idea of dating like someone in healthcare, but not really open to the idea of dating someone in the same place that I work. I do like that separation. I do like that. I want someone to have their own thing going on and have like a different perspective and like different interests and everything like that. And I don't know, if you go to work, you want to go to work, do your thing, hang out with the people that you want to hang out with, and you have your colleagues that you work with and things like that. That's your life, that's your world. And then elsewhere you can catch up with different people and do that. So I don't know, does it complicate things potentially? For other people it might not, but I think from my point of view, I still like the idea of having someone outside doing something different, which is kind of nice. Change the pace, just keep it fresh. Anyways, we've got a busy day ahead of us. We've got clinic, which is very busy in the morning. We've got an afternoon operating list. We will smash that out. We might try to do some exercise or something after work. Pretty sure I have my bag in the back, I'm not sure. But yeah, we've been doing this thing called like ClassPass. Essentially going to different classes in different locations that are convenient for me during my day. So if I'm in this place, then I just go to a class nearby there. If I am near home, then I go to a class nearby there. It's good. It's really good. It's very like flexible at being able to fit in exercise when you go a little bit overtime or when you have a spare moment. You're able to like just transition into different places, and you still get to fit in your exercise, which is really cool. Yeah, I feel like that's actually a really good incentive that I've now picked up. So yeah, we'll try to do that. We'll go smash this day out. Busy day ahead. We'll check in a bit later on. There you go. I don't know if that helped anyone at all dating in medicine, but I think at the bare minimum we got through some considerations or what is actually like my experience with it, and what I've experienced through other people. I mean, yes, there's people who date within medicine, there's people who date other doctors who date doctors who date nurses, other allied health professionals. To be honest, I mean, I've only properly dated someone who's outside of medicine. I thought it was better, even though I haven't really dated someone whilst I've been in medicine properly, like in a relationship. I think there's pros and cons to both sides, but at the end of the day, the longer you go through your career, I think the less opportunity you eventually feel like you get, and you have your time all taken up by other stuff that's work related. So then you eventually just, I don't know if you settle or if you just have limited opportunity to meet someone outside of your own world, that you just try to find someone within your world, and that's that. Is it a good thing or a bad thing? I don't know. I don't think there's a right answer, but yeah, dating's a bit of a funny one. Everyone has their own different perspectives on what works and how to do things and everything like that. So yeah, think about what's right for you. I don't think there's any hard and fast rules, but it's more of a time consideration and being able to be flexible with each other's schedules. So yes, doctors are busy and they have like increasingly busy requirements with their work schedule and exams and specialising and training. I know. Oh, actually, one other thing I'll say is that, I mean, it's not a consideration for me, but I guess for those people who actually have to have kids. Well, I used to work with two doctors who had kids almost at the start of their training before they went on to do their training in surgery.
So unfortunately this cut out at the end, but the main thing I was trying to get at is that you had someone at home for these two particular people who was able to look after the kids, and then the doctor could go to work and spend time doing that. So whether you need to have that person or whether you have like some other helpers, like maybe it's a nanny or another family member, it'll be person dependent and obviously partner dependent. But yeah, just a consideration. So anyways, we'll leave it there. Hopefully that helped, and yeah, we'll see you next time. Bye.